All right, y'all. Happy Sunday. I just wanted to do a quick little entry here this morning because I am headed to the track, COTA, Circuit of the Americas. My coach has a Lamborghini that he goes down and actually races on the track, and he has invited us out or invited me out to come and take a ride with him. So I'm going to go ride in a Lamborghini on the track. Super excited. But why I wanted to pause and share this is because probably the most important thing of being able to go do something like this is the reminder to surround yourself with the people who have done the things that you want to accomplish, who live the life that you want to live. Surround yourself with those types of people because it opens the door, opens the mind for what's possible out there. So I am utterly grateful to be able to have the opportunity to go do this. I'll try and get some footage and all of that kind of stuff as we go around. First time I've ever done it. And yeah, just don't forget to surround yourself with people who have lived the life that you want to live, that have the things that you want to have the relationships that you want to have. Surround yourself with people ahead of you. And that's what today is all about. Hey, welcome back to the fourth week of this process of working towards retiring my parents in now what would be the 13 and a half months that we have remaining. This week was an interesting one. There was a lot of kind of fun things that happened, some frustrating things that happened, as with most weeks, that sort of thing. But as you saw in the previous clip, had some incredible fun to kick off the week. And I think I really just want to reiterate that in order to continue to level up in our business, to level up in your own life, surround yourself with people who have achieved the things that you want to, who are living a life that you want to live. Don't worry about taking advice from people who have not achieved or are not in the process of achieving the things that you want to achieve, and go spend time with people that have. That has been a major unlock for me, and I wanted to share that with y'all today. So let's get into kind of the nuts and bolts of things from this particular week. This week, we focused a lot on some systems related things, some training related things as we continue to develop the system and training plan around our newest team member, and working through setting some boundaries and some strategic plays and things like that. So that's what I'm going to get into here over the next couple of minutes. I'll give you a little bit of context with that. So let's start with some strategic moves, because I think what's really cool is to sit back and think, I've got this great ambition, this goal that we're on the journey of right now, which is to retire my parents over the next 13 and a half months. There's a lot of different ways to think about how we achieve that goal. And we actually spent a little bit of time this week just really kind of mapping out different pieces with that, from systemizing the business to what do our roles look like in the future? What do we want out of this? Lots of different things as we look at what are different iterations or permutations of how the business can look moving forward, and just kind of draw them up all on the board and talk through pros and cons of each of these different things. Well, I can't share all of them with you yet today. Ideally, down the road here, I'll kind of circle back to some different things and let you know what path we took, what path we didn't take, why we went down some of those paths. But I think that the key point is to be able to take a step back and recognize that to solve for any goal that we have, there may be multiple paths to get there. And taking the step back and saying, what things do I want to see along the way? What do I want to achieve outside of this goal? If I achieve this goal, what is it ultimately setting me on the path for long term? And based on these components of what we want to achieve, which paths are going to give us the best ride to get there? And being able to not just like say this is an option, but really, really think about it and flow chart it out, write it up on a whiteboard, have a brainstorming session with your team about it. But writing down, here's option A, here's option B. If we take option A, here's all the different things that can happen as a result of that. Here's option B, and things like that. So strategic level thinking, not full like business planning in particular at this point, but really allowing the creative gears to come about. Because what was really neat is you go through this, and we had probably two or three different kind of iterations of what we could do. And As we're talking through, we get an hour into the conversation, and all of a sudden we've got a fifth option, then we've got a sixth option, things that didn't come up beforehand. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder what that would look like. And oftentimes they're better than one of the previous options that we put up on the board. So strategic thinking, strategic moves, that was a big piece just for us to continue to clarify exactly what the path continues to look like as we look at the next 13, 14 months or so, and kind of reaffirm the direction and the overall goals that we have. Alongside the strategic thinking and planning, a big piece of this week has been continuing to develop out the systems, the training, and just the ways to make the business and the team more efficient and more effective at what they do. So one of these, and I'll put a clip here that where I talk a little bit more about this in real time throughout the week. But one was recording every training session. So I've got a piece on that. You're going to check that out right now. Hello. So thought I'd just shoot a quick recording because a big piece of what we are doing when it comes to preparing the business for retiring my parents and getting people out of the business, one of the big things that we need to focus on, or we have a big emphasis on right now, is documenting as much of our training systems as possible so that we can replicate when we have a team member come on. We look to expand the team, different things like that. We've got to have the training modules and everything in place. So we spent a ton of time in the last couple of weeks, as I've referenced on previous videos, creating a lot of the training content, going through, talking through, this is what this role does, here's how this works, things like that. The other component of this, and why I'm shooting this quick update today, is being able to effectively capture real-time training. So here in just a few minutes, I'm going to be jumping into a Zoom recording with our newest team member, where we're going to go through scripting, we're going to go through process, we're going to go through all this kind of stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to record the entire thing. And either I can take that recording afterwards and I can cut it up into little bits that are helpful for other individuals on the team, or I can just leave the entire thing and show this is what it looks like to actually go through this role, learn these things as you're in your second week, third week of joining the team. So I think these are really critical because it gives a very easy hands-on application for what exactly someone's going to go through in the role. So that's what we're going to be doing here in just a few minutes. Is I'm going to be sitting down, going through things, asking questions. Where is he feeling stuck? What pieces do you have questions on? What areas do we want to go through? Maybe do a little bit of role playing. But it's going to be dependent on what he's experienced after having gone through a bit of training, after going through shadowing a few calls. So it's very personalized in that way, but also provides this amazing ability to see how other people go through it. And a lot of times I can help connect those dots if you're a new team member joining the team. So another simple, easy, very, very easy way to create training for your business. And then you, of course, can take the transcript, you can put it into ChatGPT or any other AI models and have it create an SOP or a training document off of that. It's kind of the bonus tip. But this whole process of creating systems, creating content and material and things to train team members on does not have to be overly complicated. Just turn on the Zoom room, hit record, make sure the transcription happens, and then use all of that material to create your training stuff. So there's my tip of the week as we continue to progress. So as you can see in this, the key thing I was highlighting on at that point was getting into real conversations with the team, recording that entire thing. Now, there's so many things we can do with that recording. I can put it into our training material. I can put it into our knowledge hub. William, our team member, can go back and rewatch that exact video. I can also pull the transcripts. I can throw it into ChatGPT. I can create standardized documents from it. I can pull out the nuanced things that we maybe haven't created some training on. It gives us some ideas of different things. But I will tell you now, going back and reflecting on the fact that now I've actually done that training session with him, there was a lot that came out of the conversation. And it wasn't just strictly a here's how we do things, but we were talking through what were some interactions that he's had. How does that conversation develop over time? It's the first time that he's talking about the things that we do in the business to others out in the community, and how did those conversations go, and just kind of riff back and forth, and it pulls out these nuances of how that role continues to develop over time. The additional big training thing that I'm super excited about this week specifically has been continued integration of AI within the full team. So we have been toying around with the idea of getting a team ChatGPT account. Most of us on the team have been using ChatGPT for a while, starting to kind of figure out how to use it effectively within our roles within the business, things like that. Moving to a team account allows us to do some things structurally within the business that gives additional tools and preps our team a bit more. So we unrolled this at the beginning of the week. So each of our team members now has a team account, and we're able to create some things for them to use along the way. This week, it's been custom GPTs and project folders. Now, I've got a whole list of additional things that as I get them built, I will share with y'all because it'll be really fun to kind of see how these things start to work in real time. But this week has been focused on 3 custom GPTs and a couple project folders. So for the project folders, how we're working these, and if you're not familiar with ChatGPT and how it's structured, project folders are essentially a way to create a custom set of instructions and SOPs and things like that. So you can almost create specialists within your ChatGPT account. So every time you go and start a chat in that folder, it can be on, as an example, I have a speaking specialist as a project folder for my own personal things. And I will go and I will have conversations with this speaking specialist on how to become a better speaker, how to create proper presentations and different things like that, where it's trained. It has instruction sets on some of the best speaking instructors and things like that in the world. So it's a specialist in that area. So thinking about it from the business concept, what we're in the process of building right now is every department will have its own project folder. So think of it: marketing, sales, operations, finance, IT or team, HR, that sort of thing. So each project or each folder will be its own department. And within that, we'll have a set of SOPs that we've created over time, the master prompt that says, here's everything when it comes to marketing. Here's how our business thinks about marketing. If as a CMO coming in, all of that knowledge set, everything is built into how we think about marketing for our target market, for our area, for all of that type of thing. And then it's got a set of instructions that says, I want you to think about it or be this type of person. I want you to be the CMO. I want you to be a high-end marketing administrator that is there to support everybody on the marketing team. You just think about like what do you want those chats to be for the team? So we're going to create that for marketing, for sales, all the different departments in the business. And then I share those folders with the team. So each team, each department has access to their folder. And then there's a shared place where we can all go and use those. So long tail of this is then we can start plugging in each of our full detailed SOPs within the business so that if there's a team member that's like, how do I do something? They can literally go into the chat, type it in, and the AI will help read all of the SOPs and tell them exactly what to do next. So that there's just a very, very little time between how do I do something and implementing a solution. It would be really, really cool. Custom GPTs on the other end, a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more involved. So I've got 3 of them two of them I built out so far, and one that I'm in the process of building out that I'm pretty excited about. The 2 that have been built so far are for call reviews and call notes. So for one of our lead channels, we've got initial conversations, things like that. So this allows the team members to take the transcripts of their calls, put them in and say, help me get better. What did I do really well? What did I not do really well? What are some questions that I can ask to really liven up the conversation? How can I provide more value? And it will actually grade them and give them this like pillar by pillar breakdown of, hey, you did really well here. Here's something that you can improve upon, and give some actual like coaching tips on being better. They can also take those same transcripts, put it into another custom GPT for notes specifically, and it will pull out every piece of discovery that we needed from that specific meeting and put it into a unified, standardized format for notes for the next team member to be able to review very quickly and hit the high points that they need. All this can then be added into the CRM and different things like that. So simplifying some of those little tasks within each role within the business. Now, the third one, and this one we are just starting to build this week, and it's really exciting. And we're calling it the Sales Roleplay Buddy. But it's where we actually get to use the voice tool within the ChatGPT account. So rather than dictate, you click the little microphone, you actually go into voice mode. The team member or myself will chat with the AI, and the AI will chat back with us with voice. Why this is really cool is we're training it on the scripts that we have, on the process, on how these conversations go. And this tool will be able to start by saying, hey, Tanner, so glad that we're going to do a role play today. I got a few questions for you before we begin. First, business size. How big is the business that I'm meant to be? What type of industry am I in? Ask a few other kind of questions so it has a little bit of background information, what to come up with, and then ask, how hard do you want this conversation to be? What's the warmth of the lead? So that the sales team member come in and role play every objection, everything that could come up in real time that's not the same every single time, just like they're talking to another prospect or lead or something else like that out there. And then at the end of it, it gives a grading. It says, hey, you did this really, really well. Hey, maybe you talked way too much and you've got to bring this down. Try, weaving this over here. This part wasn't as clear, and gives them, here's 3 things that you can go do right now to improve before the next call. Go practice those things and then come back and do another role play. This is incredible because what it does is it allows our team to level up their skills so much faster than having to wait for somebody on the team to do effective role plays like this. So think of sales training on steroids. So little things like this that are just going to be embedded into the system so that any time that a new team member is brought onto the team, they have access to the SOPs, they have access to the training material, they have access to this role playing AI bot, and they can start to level up their skills so fast so they can get into role and actually see the success that they came on board to see. Incredible little things that don't take a tremendous amount of time to build, but little by little. So if you're watching this and you're like, Tanner, how do I do that in my own business? Because that seems like a lot of work. Don't overthink it. The next time you need to bring somebody onto your team, just know that you're going to build it piece by piece as you bring them on board. And that is what we're doing in real time right now. I didn't sit here and go, hey, I'm going to build all of these things tomorrow before I even put a job ad out there. No, we're going to put the job ad out. We're going to find the right person that we're going to bring onto the team. And some of this training will be built a couple days, couple weeks before, because it's all here. We have it. It's in our heads. But we'll extract the things that are most necessary to pull out. And then as we go through the training with them, that will become the new iterations, the new pieces of training. A lot of times it's just do a video like this with somebody and then give them the video and have them build the SOPs so that they have to codify and recognize that they have learned the information. And that's kind of our test to know that they've learned it. So it doesn't have to be overly complex when you go through these types of things. So that was a little bit on systems for what we're doing this week. We've been thinking a lot about the strategy and the different places and the different directions that we're going to go. Have had a bit of fun, have had a chance to just connect as a team as everybody's getting back into the flow of things. And over this next week, we're going to be really thinking about how do we take this to the next level? What's the next thing that we need to do? How do we continue this process of bringing our systems and processes and everything together? What are the gaps within the business that's going to allow us to move forward? So there's going to be a little bit more strategic thinking next week, a little bit more of the system build out. I don't think it's going to be overly glamorous or exciting, but hopefully here in the next week, I'll have kind of some screenshots or maybe some screen recordings I can throw into the video that will share with you the exact things that we've built out, maybe some of the prompts on the back end for some of the AI things, so that ideally you can take it, replicate some things, and keep along this journey with us. It's been a fun week, frustrating week in some ways. Probably the piece that I haven't mentioned is if you're in a service-based business that has a very clear kind of project roles, things like that, especially if you're early on, it can be very easy to say yes to a lot of things. So imagine you've got a client, you're working with them for a while, and you've got an agreement of scope of work, and all of a sudden they want to add one more thing, and they want to add another thing, or maybe they want to change this or change that. And at the beginning, you say, that's great. I want to make this a really, really good experience for you because I want to keep doing work with you long term. Eventually, you have to get to the point of knowing where the line is that you're going to draw and say, I'm sorry, that's out of scope. We're getting too much scope creep. If you want these additional things, I can absolutely do it. But here's what that's going to look like. Here's the investment for that. Here's the time investment. Here's all of these types of things. I think it's an important lesson to learn. If you're watching this and you're a little bit further in your business journey, you may have already learned this lesson. If you're a little bit newer as you're listening to this today, know that is an emotional, hard thing to do sometimes, but it is really important to know where is that cutoff and just be upfront and hold your ground and say, no, this is what we agreed upon. this was out of scope. I'd be happy to do it, but this is what that's going to look like. They will more often than not respect you for that, right? You want to provide them value. And when you show up saying, I know what my value is because I've provided you value at this point, and I've provided other people value, I want to make sure that I'm doing my best for you. And I can't keep doing it at a loss, right? I can't keep doing it if my time's not compensated for, my team time's not compensated for. So those conversations can be hard, especially in the beginning, where you have to draw the line in the sand, know where to say no, but it's one of the best things you can do to protect your time, protect your business, protect your team, all of that sort of thing. So it can be frustrating. I've had a few of those moments yet this week and just wanted to share that with you because even having been in business for a number of years, there's still moments where that does happen. And don't be afraid to stand up and hold your ground. With that, that's going to kind of wrap out the conversation today. We are 4 weeks into this process. We've got about 13 and a half months left to see if I can stay on track with the crazy goals that we've set. So if you're following along, I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe for each of these videos that will drop every single week. And let me know in the comments, what's been kind of some of the biggest takeaways? What are some things after 4 weeks that you thought were interesting and you're looking to try and apply within your business, your journey? Or if you're someone like me that's in a family business, I'd love to hear that. Just let me know your scenario and the type of business and stuff that you're in the comments below. With that, continue to stay with me. This will be a lot of fun. And as always, let's continue to build some fun businesses together.